Hello class. So in this video, this is the last part of our discussion for Laplace Transform. And yun nga, in this video, magsosolve na tayo ng mga differential equations using Laplace Transform. But before we can do that, kailangan ay tawag dito, familiar muna tayo sa ano ba yung transforms mismo ng mga derivatives natin. So first part is kumbaga, i-derive natin yung Laplace transform ng mga derivatives natin. And para makagawa tayo ng mga table or a table for derivative for Laplace transforms of derivatives natin. So in order to make use of Laplace transform for solving differential equations, we need to understand the Laplace transforms of derivatives. So remember the definition of Laplace transforms. That is the improper integral from 0 to infinity of e raised to negative st f of t dt. So, in case na ang ilalaplace natin is a derivative, let's say for example, f prime of t, substituting that to our definition, we will have Laplace of f prime of t is equal to the integral from 0 to infinity of e raised to negative st f prime of t dt. Now, hindi natin to basta-basta masasolve because merong prime dito, di ba? So, meron tayong derivative dyan. So, kung ganun pala, na meron tayong derivative dyan, we need to find a way or make use of a method kung saan mawawala sana yung f of t na yon. So, to do that, what we can do is use integration by parts. So, pag mag-integration by parts tayo, mawawala yung part na yon na merong yung part na to na merong f prime of t. So, by integration by parts, so remember, ang integration by parts natin is that we have the integral of u dv is equal to uv minus v du. So, if we let u natin be equal to e raised to negative st and yung dv natin be f prime of t, then kapag kukunin natin siya in this term, or gagawin natin siya, i-express natin siya into this term, mawawala na yung dv, which is yung f prime of t. We will have uv minus integral of v du na lang. So, wala na yung different, derivative. So, if that's the case, class, we need to get du at saka v natin. So, therefore, so u natin is equal to e raised to negative st. Then, ang du natin is negative s e raised to negative st dt. So, kinuha lang natin yung derivative ng u. We will arrive at this one. And yung v natin, that's the integral of dv. And the integral of f prime of t is just ft. Now, we substitute sa integration by parts natin. We have u times v. That is e raised to negative st. This one times f of t. So, we will have ito, e raised to negative st f of t. So, take note, it's an improper integral. So, we need to evaluate pa siya from 0 to infinity. Minus v du natin. V natin is f of t. And du natin is negative se raised to negative st dt. So, ito yun, negative se raised to st dt. So, ito na yung integral of v du natin. Of course, from 0 to infinity pa din siya. Now, gawin natin class itong e raised to negative st. Simplify natin. Lagay natin sa baba since negative siya. Still, from 0 to infinity ito. Tapos, plus s. Yung ginawa natin class, yung s na to is nilabas natin. We know class that s is just a constant, diba? So, kapag nilabas natin siya, we will have s. Tapos, integral from 0 to infinity of e raised to negative st f of t dt. So, ito yung kinalabasan natin. Now, intindihin muna natin tong part na to. Kasi ito naka-integral, kumbaga wala siyang integral. Kailangan na lang natin siyang evaluate from 0 to infinity. Now, from 0 to kung 0 muna yung value niya, that is just f of 0 over e raised to s times 0. So, magiging 1 lang yan. So, this is just f of 0. So, wala tayong problema doon. How about kapag infinity na yung substitute natin sa t? So this will be, pansinin natin yung bottom na term yung denominator natin. We will have e raised to s times infinity. So kung ang isang term ay naka-raise sa infinity, ano yung magiging value nitong e of st na to? E raised to st pala. So yung e raised to st natin class will be infinity as well. So ibig sabihin, yung denominator natin will approach infinity. And what will happen, class, if your denominator is approaching infinity? This term will be approaching 0. Diba? Kasi habang palaki ng palaki yung denominator mo, ang tendency, class, ay paliit ng paliit yung buong term mo. So therefore, since t will be approaching infinity, the term f of t over e raised to st will approach 0. So therefore, ito yun. Itong term na to, iyan yung f of infinity over e raised to s times infinity. Since this is getting higher and higher at a very fast rate, so this term will approach 0. Kaya 0 na lang yan. So minus, yun nga, yung 0 natin, f of 0 over e raised to 0, plus, maintain lang natin yung kanina, s times the integral from 0 to infinity of e raised to st f of t dt. Now, kung mapapansin, class, itong term na to, this is the exact definition, class, of our Laplace transform. Diba? So that is the exact definition of Laplace transform. So instead of letting this be just the integral of 0 to infinity of e raised to st f of t dt, palitan na lang natin siya ng f of s because that is the very definition of Laplace transform. So therefore, ang kakalabasan ng equation natin will be, we have the Laplace transform of f prime of t is equal to negative f of 0 plus s times f of s. So, ayusin natin, we will have s f of s minus f of 0. Now, this is our Laplace transform for the derivative f prime of t. Now, this process is pwede natin siyang ulitin again and again for higher ordered derivatives. Magiging iterative yung process natin and we will just arrive at a very obvious na pattern doon sa mga derivatives natin. And we will have this table. So, for the first derivative, eto na-solve natin to kanina. But instead of using g yung ginamit natin as a definition for the function. So, we will have s g of s minus g of 0. Next, kapag ka naman double prime or second derivative, we will have s squared times g of s minus s times g of 0 minus g prime of 0. Now, for nth order derivative, so we have s raised to n times g of s minus s raised to n minus 1 times g of 0 minus s raised to n minus 2 g prime of 0 minus that hanggang g na derivative na n minus 1 of 0. So, yun lang yung trend natin. So, let's say for example, we have g triple prime and then substitute lang natin yan dito. We have s cubed times g of s minus s squared g of 0 minus s g prime of 0 minus g triple prime of 0. So, based from this, lagay tayong example. Let's say for example, g tapos triple prime of t. Ano yung Laplace transform na? We will have s cubed g of s minus s squared g of 0 minus s g prime of 0 minus g double prime of 0. So, yun lang. Madaling tandaan yung pattern niya. Ayan. So, yung mga gantong klase ng problem kumbaga, mas madali siyang maintindihan pag i-apply natin. So, papakita natin yan mamaya. So, we are now going to discuss na the solutions of differential equations using Laplace transform. So, the process is quite simple. Ito lang class yung process na lagi nating susundan. To find the solution, what we must first do is transform the differential equation into its Laplace transform. That's the first step. And then after doing that is we plug the initial conditions. And lastly, we need to take the inverse Laplace of the resulting equation. So take note class, kapag nag-take tayo ng Laplace transform, ang makukuha na nating class agad-agad is the general solution. Now, wag malilito kasi pag nag-table of Laplace transform tayo, kasi di ba, sir, di ba sabi nyo, importante po ang integration kapag naghahanap tayo ng solution sa differential equations. Yes, that's very important. But take note na kapag nag-Laplace transform tayo, we are also integrating. However, in-integrate natin siya, ang kinalabasan is on a different space, and that is on the S space. Next, after natin siyang makuha in the S space, is what we will do is we plug in the initial conditions. So, thus, since kasama siya sa process, ibig sabihin class, to use Laplace transform, this is suited for differential equations with initial values or initial conditions. Now, after nating i-plug in yung initial conditions, we will have the particular solution pero naka-S space. Now, we need to bring it back to T space. So, to do that, we take the inverse Laplace transform. So, basically, what we're going to do is apply everything that we learned from all of the previous videos natin. So, gawin natin siya sa problem. So, we are asked to solve for y double prime minus y is equal to e raised to 2t. Ang initial condition natin is when y is equal to 0, y of 0 is equal to 0 and y prime of 0 is equal to 1. So, tandaan, ano lang ba isabihin nito? Diba yan, y of t. Diba yan? So, sabihin, at t is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. So, dapat super familiar na tayo yan. Hindi ko lang ba't ni-reiterate ko pa. Pero dapat familiar na kayo dyan. Ayan. Now, tingnan muna natin yung problem. Yung problem class, this is a non-homogeneous na second order linear differential equation. Diba? So, with initial condition. So, remember sa previous na chapter natin, paano natin to sinosolve? Diba we use the method of undetermined coefficients. And yung method na yun is TDUs and medyo mahaba. Diba? So, what we will do now is use a different method. And yun nga, Laplace transform yung gagamitin natin. So, balikan natin, ano nga yung 3 steps natin. First, find the Laplace transform. Second, plug in the initial conditions. And third, find the inverse Laplace. So, first step muna tayo, we find the Laplace transform of this one. So, to do that, mas madali class na isa-isahin natin yung terms. Kuhanin natin yung Laplace transform pa isa-isa ng bawat term. So, let's say for example, we take the Laplace transform of y double prime and then the Laplace transform of y and then the Laplace transform of e raised to 2t. Then, tsaka natin siya i-substitute dito sa equation natin ulit. So, let's do that. Let's start with the Laplace of y. That is just y of s. And then, wala namang y prime, but the Laplace of y prime is equal to s y of s minus y of 0. Next, we have double prime, y double prime. So, based from the table natin, the Laplace transform is s squared y of s minus s y of 0 minus y prime of 0. And then, we need to also take the Laplace of e raised to 2t, and that is 1 over s minus 2. So, sa table lang din natin ito tinignan. Now, we substitute now dito, or hindi rather substitute, ipalit na natin, i-plug in na natin siya. We'll have y double prime, so that is s, y of s, s squared y of s minus s y of 0 minus minus y prime of 0. Ito yung y natin, Laplace ng y. And then Laplace of y minus y of s, sorry, capital to, is equal to Laplace of e raised to 2t, that is 1 over s minus 2. So, take note, ano yung ginawa natin? We just took the, We just took the Laplace transform nito. So, we just took the Laplace transform, ito yung kinalabasan. Now, tapos na tayo sa first step. Ano yung second step? We plug in the initial conditions. So, we substitute the initial conditions. We have y of 0. Y of 0 is equal to 0. And y prime of 0 is equal to 1. So, substitute natin yon. We will have this equation. S squared y of s minus s times 0 minus 1 minus y of s is equal to 1 over s minus 2. Now, we solve for y of s. So, to solve for y of s, o kailangan nating i-factor out yung lahat ng y of s. So, ito 0 na to. Ito, lipat natin to sa kabila. And then, factor out natin yung y of s dito. So, we'll have s squared y of s minus 1 minus y of s is equal to 1 over s minus 2. Factor out y of s, we'll have y of s times s squared minus 1 is equal to 1 plus s minus 2. So, simplify natin yung nasa right side. We will have y of s times s squared minus 1 magiging s minus 1 over s minus 2. So, nag-minus yung negative 2 tapos nag-add yung 1. So, naging s minus 1 na lang yung nasa taas over s minus 2. So, we'll have y minus s is equal to s minus 1. Divide natin yung whole equation by s squared minus 1. Magiging denominator natin is s minus 2 over s squared minus 1. Next, i-factor out, ano natin to? I-factor out natin yung s squared minus 1. So, we will have, this is s plus 1 saka s minus 1. So, makakancel na tong s minus 1 sa taas saka s minus 1 sa baba. So, y of s natin will be 1 over s minus 2 times s plus 1. Now, this is actually already our particular solution. Kaso, papansin, wala pa siya sa original niya na variable. Nasa s pa siya. So, therefore, we are now on the third step. That is, we take its inverse Laplace transform. So, gawin muna natin, i-partial fractions natin siya para maging similar siya sa sa format nung nasa table of Laplace transforms natin. So, we will have 1 over s minus 2 times s plus 1 is equal to a over s minus 2 plus b over s plus 1. We need to find the values for a and b. So, multiply the whole equation by s minus 2 and s plus 1. So, we will have 1 is equal to a times s plus 1 plus b times s minus 2. So, to find the value of a and b, ang magandang gawin is we just, zero out some of the terms para isang constant, isang variable na lang yung matira. So, let's try at s is equal to negative 1 para mawala tong part na to. So, kung s is equal to negative 1, mawawala to kasi magiging times 0 yung a. We will have 1 is equal to a times 0 plus b times negative 3. So, therefore, ang b natin is negative 1/3. That's our b. Now, we solve for a. So, to solve for a, ang gawin natin s is equal to 2 para ang ma-zero out naman is yung may b. So, we will have 1 is equal to a times 3 plus b times 0. We will have a is equal to 1/3. Now, ilagay na natin yung a and b natin, substitute. So, we will arrive at our y of s na 1 over 3 over s minus 2 plus 1/3 over s plus 1. Now, ito class is, pwede nating factor out yung 1/3. So, we will have 1 over 3 times 1 over s minus 2 minus 1 over s plus 1. Now, kung napapansin, pwede na siya i-take ng inverse Laplace direkta kasi kamukha niya na yung nasa table of Laplace transform natin. To be specific, nasa ganito siyang format. 1 over s minus a. Wherein dito, sa first term, ang a natin is 2 and then ang a natin sa second term is negative 1. So, therefore, ang inverse Laplace transform natin is 1/3. Ito na yon, yung inverse Laplace ng y of s, that's y of t. That is equal to 1/3 inverse Laplace of 1 over s minus 2 minus 1 over s plus 1. And that is equal to, we have 1/3 times e raised to 2t minus e raised to negative t. So, dito natin siya kinuha. So, yan. So, that is our final answer. So, now, kung napansin, relatively, this is easier than using the method of undetermined coefficients. Yung example na given natin, that is a non-homogeneous na linear DE na higher order. But instead of using the method na diniscuss natin last time, what we use is Laplace transform. Ayun. So that is an example of how we use Laplace transform to find or to solve the solution. This is now our particular solution. Now, ayan, baka nagtataka again. Take note, sir, bakit bigla na lang natin nakuha yung answer? Remember that the Laplace operation itself, that is an integral na operation. So therefore, that is still in line with what I said last time. Diba, ang sabi ko lang naman last time ay para makita ang general solution or ang solution sa isang differential equations, we need to integrate. So, and that is what we did din naman kapag nag-Laplace transform tayo. Another example, we have x prime plus 4x is equal to cosine t. Tapos, ang condition natin is when t is equal to 0, x is equal to 0. So, this basically means x of 0 natin ay equal to 0. Now, ganun din to. This is also ano lang pala, first order lang to na differential equation. But what we're going to do is use Laplace transform to solve this differential equation. So, let's do that. So, again, first step is we find the Laplace of the equation. So, to get the Laplace of the equation, again, isa-isahin muna natin. We have the Laplace of x, that is x of s, the Laplace of x prime, that is s x of s minus x of 0, and the Laplace of cosine t, that is s over s squared plus 1. Galing lahat yan sa table natin. Plug in natin, we will have yung x prime, that is s x of s minus x of 0. Tapos 4x, that is 4 x of s, and cosine t, that is s over s squared plus 1. Next, what we will do is plug in the initial conditions. We will have x of 0 is equal to 0. So, this will be 0. So, ito siya. So, therefore, simplifying, mawawala to. And then, we solve for x of s. I-factor out natin yung x of s. We will arrive at x of s times s plus 4 is equal to s times, over pala, s squared plus 1. Now, we divide the whole equation by s plus 4. We will have x of s is equal to s over s plus 4 times s squared plus 1. So, next is, obviously, we have to do partial fractions na. Kasi we need to find the inverse Laplace. So, to take the inverse Laplace, partial fractions tayo. So, remember, ito ay may squared dito. Yung isang factor niya ay may squared. So, therefore, ito yung breakdown niya kapag partial fractions natin siya. We have s over s plus 4 times s squared plus 1 that is equal to a over s plus 4 plus bs plus c over s squared plus 1. Ayun nga, kasi nga may square dito. So, elementary, ano lang to? Hindi naman elementary. High school pala. High school algebra. Ayan. So, multiply natin yung whole equation by s plus 4 times s squared plus 1. We will have s is equal to a, s squared plus 1 plus b, s plus c times s plus 4. Now, we need to find for the value of a, b, and c. So, to find the value of a muna, to find the value of a, ang gawin natin class is gawin nating 0 tong term na to. Kasi pag zinero natin yan, mawawala yung b tsaka yung c. So, we can find the value of a agad-agad. So, to do that, let's try s is equal to negative 4. So, at s is equal to negative 4, we will have negative 4 is equal to, we have s squared 16 plus 1. So, we have 17a plus 0. Kasi ito makakancel tong part na to. We will have a natin is negative 4 over 17. Next, to solve for b and c, so ang gawin natin class is distribute natin yung equation para makuha natin siya in terms of coefficients naman yung gagawin natin. Kasi kahit gawin ko tong una sa lahat pala, hindi natin masi-zero out to kahit anong gawin natin. Unless imaginary lalagay natin number, which is hindi naman advisable. So it's better na kunin na lang natin yung coefficients nila. So distribute natin para makuha natin yung nakamultiply sa mga respective coefficients nila. So we will have S is equal to AS squared plus A plus BS squared plus 4BS plus CS plus C. So dinistribute lang natin yan. So next is ilabas natin lahat ng mga variable nila. Pagsamasamahin natin para malaman natin alin yung coefficients na magkakasama. So we will have lahat ng may S squared, that's A plus B. Finactor out natin. Factor out natin yung S. So we have 4B tsaka C. So ito yon. And then, lahat ng constant, that is A and 4C. A plus 4C lang. So, coefficients muna tayo of S squared. So, that is 0 is equal to A plus B. So, therefore, alam natin that A is equal to, and A is equal to negative 4 over 17. So, B natin is positive 4 over 17. Next, we need to, alin yung may C na lang, yun na lang yung kunin natin. Or either pala pwede. But we can use the coefficient of S. So we will arrive at 1 is equal to 4B plus C. Substitute natin yung value ng 4B, ay ng B pala. So we will have 1 is equal to 4 times 4 over 17 plus C. Ang C natin will be 1 over 17. So ang nangyari dito is, magiging kasi to, di ba? 16 over 17. Tapos, lipat natin sa kabila. So, that's 17 over 17 minus 16 over 17. Ang matitira is 1 over 17. Ayan na, yung mga basic math addition. Yun, dapat alam na natin yung arithmetic. Ayan. Now, nakuha natin yung value ng ABC. Ayan, hindi ko pala na, hindi ko siya na lagyan ng animation. But anyway, substitute na natin. So we will have, this is our A, this is our B, this is our C. So we will have negative 4 over 17 over S plus 4 over 17S plus 1 over 17 over S squared plus 1. So, gawin natin class is paghiwa-hiwalayin natin siya. Itong negative 4 over 17 ilabas natin. So, ang matitira is 1 over S plus 4. So, ito yung first term natin. Next, ang gawin natin dito sa pangalawa class is paghiwalay natin yung 4 over 17S plus 1 over 17 S squared plus 1. Gawin natin 4 over 17S over S squared plus 1 plus 1 over 17 over S squared plus 1. So, ilabas natin yung 4 over 17 muna. Nung first term, we'll have 4 over 17 times S over S squared plus 1. Next, ilabas naman natin yung 1 over 17. So, we will have 1 over 17. Ang matitira na lang is sa taas is just 1 over S squared plus 1. Again, ano yung ginawa natin? Pinaghiwalay natin to. Ginawa natin 14 over 17 S over S squared plus 1 plus 1 over 17 over S squared plus 1. So, pinaghiwalay natin. And then, finactor out natin yung 4 over 17 saka 1 over 17. So, itong dalawang to yung kinalabasan nila. Now, kung mapapansin, itong S plus 4, ito siya. Itong S squared plus 1, to be specific, yung S over S squared plus 1, that's a cosine. And then yung 1 over S squared plus 1, that is a sine naman. So, direkta class, kamukha niya na yung nasa table of Laplace transform natin. So, therefore, we can now take the inverse Laplace. So, first term muna tayo. Inverse Laplace ng 1 over S plus 4. So, that is ito. Ang A natin is negative 4. So, we will have e raised to negative 40. Plus, the Laplace transform, inverse Laplace of S over S squared plus 1. Ang omega natin is 1. So, therefore, we will have cosine t. Plus 1 over 17, inverse Laplace ng 1 over S squared. Omega natin is 1. So, that is just sine t. So therefore, our final answer, class, is negative 4 over 17 e raised to negative 40 plus 4 over 17 cosine t plus 1 over 17 sine t. So that is our final answer. So pwede nyo rin, gusto nyo, i-factor out nyo yung 1 over 17 para magiging 4 e raised to negative 40, etc. etc. na lang siya. But yun, the important thing is nakuha natin yung final answer natin. So this is our final answer. So that is it. That is that is it for this video. So ayun, na-discuss na natin how do we use Laplace transform for finding the solution to differential equations. Yan, so make sure na after nito ay i-solve na yung mga exercises. Ayan, para ma-practice tayo sa paggamit ng method na to for finding differential equations. So that's it. Thank you, class.